Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Out of Fuel Simracing, a sim racing league, Mon Ultimate League based in North America. I am Nathan. I will be your host today. And today's race, looking like a spicy one, we are at the Temple of Speed, or the place where sim racing dreams go to die, Monza. And not just Monza, we're at the Curva Grande layout. Of course, most sim racers look familiar, but for those who do not know, the layout is pretty simple. Cover the start finish straight at the bottom of the screen there, and we go through a full speed run through the Curva Grande, and then heading into the Della Roggia chicane, which has a much further back braking zone. And after navigating that tight and twisty chicane, you head down to the Lesmos, two medium speed corners with slightly different, but important to note the difference between the two, as the approach is quite significant to the exit of the second Lesmo, especially. You then head down a long straight to the Ascari chicane, a fast left, right, left, and with all the cars running really low downforce, Ascari is particularly tricky. Usually, especially with the low downforce, the high speed nature of the corner, and the curbs. From Ascari, you head down another straight down to the last corner, Parabolica, or Alboreto, as recently renamed. Another medium-ish speed corner, which is, again, quite tricky in the low downforce configuration of these cars. So today's race, of course, we are having the fourth round of the Multiclass Championship. So LMP2 URs, or European Le Mans spec LMP2s, and GT3s. To quickly go over the standings for the championships. In LMP2 UR, Greg Cachadorian leading the way by 7 points over James Rubio. Greg does have ballast today, and this is a track where that ballast might hurt on the straights. So maybe someone can challenge for the win. James Rubio is second in points. Hans Montes in third on 123s. So top four actually within 10 points as Ryan Balloon on 122. However, him and Michael Landry in fifth are not in attendance today. Not sure if they've taken a drop round before. I'd have to look at that again. But we'll see how that pans out as the championship progresses. Nate Sides in sixth on 110. Abe Wozniak in seventh on 104. Chris McLennan in eighth on 99. Don Bailey in ninth on 88 points. Brian Crane in 10th on 71 points. Joris Putkis is, I believe, missing today's race. He's on 11th on 33 points. And Michael Quant, having missed the previous two races, has made a return for round 4. He's on 30 points. Then moving over to the GT3 standings. Dakota Botello and William Mangrum neck and neck for the lead, 144 and 141 points respectively. They're both pretty heavily ballasted for today's race, so usually I would back Dakota and the McLaren to run away at a track with so many straights, but with that ballast may come into play. Right behind them, Guillermo Perret, having taken a fine run at Interlagos last week, has also been ballasted accordingly, up to 20 kilos now. So he will also have quite the weight penalty, but with less than our top two. So we'll see how that plays out with the battles on track. In fourth is Jesse Olsen on 117. Grayson Head in fifth on 108. Casey Jackman in sixth on 105. Harrison Miller in seventh on 92. Justin Rand in eighth on 88. Justin Fortuna, I hope I do not get Dustin and Justin confused again. Justin Fortuna in 9th on 83. And Donnie Greathouse in 10th on 81 points. Practice is coming to a close. 6.5 minutes to go. As of right now, state of play, take a look at both fields. That way we get into the top 10. So Rick Cachadorian is leading the way in terms of practice times from Don Bailey and LMP2, while in the GT3s, Willie Mangrum and Dakota Patel, as have been all season long, pretty close. 600s between them, in fact, and less than 200s between Greg and Don Bailey, and James Rubio just another 100th right behind Bailey. So, at least from practice, this is looking pretty close. parabolic now. Grayson head, the driver we follow. Pull up his sector time. Back map. Grayson head is on a bit of a slower lap. My indication tells me he's on 69% virtual energy. Nice. Right, I'm being drafted by Nick Johnson over here, as they are gonna practice a little bit of too wide going into Curva Grande, as is the tradition. Going through, are they gonna stay too wide? No, Nick Johnson pulls ahead. Grayson head wisely deciding not to make it too wide. The GT3s wash out quite hard at this corner, and taking the outside line is not preferred. Delarosia. Nice little battle on practice. Even if it's for nothing. Good practice. Nice. Happen. OOFS has had a counter parabolica. Okay. Oh, engage going into the pits. Oh, that must be what's triggered by replay MFD. It's still a bit in early access, so there's going to be a few false positives from time to time. Avitala is currently in that 14th for GT. Yeah, that is 14th. And pretty well. He's with 1.8 seconds off the lead. Billy Mangrum for GT. The 143 once. We did see faster. He is on pretty high VE. So maybe that explains slight lack of pace compared to qualifying. We will see them go full beans in about 4 minutes time. It will take a bit of time after the session ends for everyone to finish off their laps. Yes, that's for that. I will leave you the delightful V8 sounds. Grayson heads ladies. Probably gonna move the mic a little bit later, but oh well, we'll have more. Grayson head making a nice little move on Nick Johnson, taking advantage of a moment to Delarosia. This track is quite interesting. You don't have a lot of corners here, and you know, of course, the majority of your pace is determined by the straight bits, but the squiggly bits do matter for getting a good exit on the straight bits, and also because, well, the slower the corner is, more lap time she has time to gain by getting it right. Light Studios, hello. Yep, excited for today. Ooh, Hans Monza is going on the outs. Good parabolica. I don't think that was the optimal strategy. Brian Cream and Schminger because Grayson had and Nick Johnson go into the pits. Let's take a look at that. I didn't see Hans's POE. That side, yeah, and yeah, the LMP2 immediately stepping out. And oof, a pretty big hit in the parabolica. Like I was saying, cars are all going to be in pretty low downforce configuration. One of the last people out on track. Should be one of the last people. I do see a couple of LMP2. I believe James Rubio has just crossed the second one. If that's the guy going through the left. I don't know, is here for a little bit of Jurassic Park spotting. Go through arrow. Oop. Washing out wide, yeah. Managing to keep you out of the wall. Good job there, Dustin. Yeah, pulling up. James Rubio has stopped, I believe. Don Bailey. Is that leaves Don Bailey? The last person out in practice. See if he puts the time here. Is he a good sector 1? I don't see a sector 2 time. So I would think he's embodied, and yeah, he is pulling over. So that concludes practice. So we are about to head into qualifying. Qualifying format for today's multi-class race is, just as a reminder, we have 25 minutes of qualifying. The first 12 minutes are reserved for GT3s exclusively. So the first 12 minutes, the GT3s are going to go out and they're allowed to do their laps until the timer hits 13 minutes remaining. So that's 25 minus 12, that's 13. So once the clock hits 13 minutes remaining, the GT3s have to finish the lap they're on. They cannot start a flying lap after the 13-minute mark. Once that's done, at the 12.5-minute mark, I believe, the LMP2s will leave the pits to start their qualifying session. And they will have about 12 minutes. The 30-second delay, mostly just to allow any GT3s that started their lap late to build up enough of a gap that the P2s, who are about 10 seconds a lap faster, do not accidentally catch them while they are on their flying lap. Are switching sessions. Are into qualifying. So, who's out the lead of the pit lane? The display tells me it's William Angram. It is William Angram who's going to meet the red light at the end of the pit lane, telling our drivers that the qualifying session has not quite started yet. Should be, there we go. Green light at the end of the pit lane. And yeah, we are underway for GT3 qualifying. So, that's better. That should tell us about all our GT3 contestants. Okay, the qualifying session today, as usual, let's try. But today's race is going to be a bit interesting. We have a chance of rain in the race session later on. So, you know, we usually say the multi-class races are a bit of a mini endurance race. We try to, there's a bit of a strategy element to it because, you know, we have double the normal tire usage, double the normal fuel burn. So you have to plan your pit stops, make sure that your pit strategy is the correct one and you pit as few times as possible. But also you don't want to stay out on a set of used tires for too long. Otherwise someone will put on fresh tires and catch you up. So that adds a bit of a strategic element to what is a endurance racing simulator, really. And it allows people to practice in a more controlled league racing environment and learn about how virtual energy works, tire preservation, fuel preservation, and you know, formulating some basic endurance strategies so they can go out and do some of the longer form endurance that we see once a week. We do see the special events pop up, or we do have the weekly races that are basically, again, mini enduros. William Angram is going to be our first GT3 driver to start a flying lap. We can go on board with him. find the right camera. There we go. Let's walk through a lap. Bring on the start finish straight. Really, it's going to be pedal to the metal. We'll see. The tires, of course, we don't have tire warmers in the series, so the tires start at ambient temperature. So that's gonna be tricky. Is he gonna go flat out through Curva Grande? He is. Completely flat. And, oops, got my track map. This one, yeah. Bear with us, chat. We are trying to figure some things out here today. A few changes to the broadcast this week. But, yep. Managing to get through Dolorosa, okay. Goes through Lesmo 1, maybe a little hesitant on entry. Understandable, really. Lesmo 2, nice late break. Ooh, really pushing the track limits on that one. So, yeah, it definitely has confidence in the car. Maybe felt something going into Lesmo 1. This is pretty good, William Angrum. Set a sector 1. Ignore the plus numbers for the sector, because this is the first lap. I'm not entirely sure where it's pulling that from. Does show that behind, Grayson Head has set a purple sector 2 and Dakota Botello set a purple sector 1. So pretty close between these drivers so far. Huh? Go back to obstacle. William Angrum getting a decent parabolica coming up to the line, sets a 1 minute 41.573. Grayson Head with a 41.339. See where the rest of the grid filters out. Casey Jackman, I believe, has invalidated. Ross McLean with a 42.6. 8 Calvin on his first lap to 45.464, maybe just taking a moment to warm up the tires. Dakota Botello has invalidated in the final sector. Casey Jackman has stopped. Oh, he's gone back to the pits. He's on another outlap. Okay. Yeah. Hello there, Preston. Thank you for those lovely words. Go back to the TV. Ooh, big gravel. Not ahead of him, I believe. I'll have to get a look. That's Casey Jackman going really wide on his outlap. I'm not entirely sure what happened there. Also, why are there two E's? That's a bit weird. Anyway. So we're seeing a few more lap times coming in. So Grayson Head still top of the time. Dakota Botello should be turned out with Casey Jackman getting out of the way, letting William Angrum finish his second lap. I don't see a sector 2 for Willie. That might mean he's invalidated somewhere in the Lesmos. But we'll see. As he comes up to the line, does he settle a valid lap time? And it is gonna be a no. So that was definitely an invalid lap. The timer does some funny things when it happens, so just don't mind that. Grayson Head has gone ahead and done a 46.12, getting a nice little tow from Casey Jackman over here. Ross McLean has stopped on track in sector 1. Wait, is this Ross? That's an interesting strategy. Ross has gone to the pits. Wonder what happened there. Grayson Head now, though, getting kind of held up a little bit here by Casey. So I think what he'll want to do is probably back out, because Casey is on a valid lap. He does not have to get out of the way. League rules state that you only have to get out of the way if you're on an out lap or an invalid lap. But Casey, I think, is slowing down now. He is letting Grayson Head through. So, okay. Good on you, Casey. Recognizing... Oh, that's good. That's good. Thomas, meanwhile, is on a 49.46. That's a pretty good lap. That's put him up to second place right now. We still have about 5.5 minutes in this session, so a long way to go, but Parker Thomas doing pretty well. Harrison Miller as well up there, 49.70 in the Mountain Dew Mustang. Yeah, well, he has had... Oh, I don't know what's going on. Well, at least this lap looks like... Again, the yellow lights are a little bit misleading. He may very well be on a good lap. Yeah, he is on a pretty good lap. That's put him up to second place with a 49.36. 100ths ahead of Parker Thomas. Dakota Botello immediately behind him, smashing that. The 46.90. That still moves him only up to second. Grayson Head showing some pretty good pace these first few laps. Of course, that last lap kind of being held up in traffic. We'll see what he can do. Oop, there's a yellow in Sector 3. Justin Fortuna has had a yellow. Is he still... He's gone back to the pits. Okay. So that must have been a yellow. Look at it actually, real quick. Ooh. Nice little drifterino from that Mercedes exit in the box. Unfortunately, oh, taking a bit too much sausage on the exit of Ascari, and that sent him straight into the wall. Oh no, this head's dying. No, rammed it straight into the wall. We're seeing some more yellows. Dustin Rand and Josh Popov have both gone off. Dustin Rand choosing to return to the garage. I hope we see him back out on track. Josh Popov is on an out lap now. H. Galvin has had a lot of people having issues. Ooh. Dave Harris. Justin Fortuna. Possible contact, but that's not exactly reliable. And through Curva Grande, Justin Fortuna has just come out of the pits to start his... Oh! Oh no! He's touching that inside curve, I think, Dave Harris, a little bit, and that's enough to balance the Ferrari. That's like a normal team. Wait, what are you talking about? What part are you referring to? There's a lot that's going on. Dave Harris. Let's continue with this lap and show the yellow flag. Right? Billy Mangrum, though. Oh, had a yellow. He is in the garage. Yeah, he has gone back to garage, so that's his qualifying done. Choosing to do... What is that, 6 laps? Oh, and he's gone out again? Okay. That's interesting. I had to pick it up a little bit. Yeah, there we go. Mangrum has gone on another out lap. He's in 6th right now. I don't know. So I'm assuming he's holding on to the tires that he's already been using through his quali session, because this is way too short of a time to taking too much sausage. Yeah, but it's a bit light to be... Yeah, no, I'm distracted. A bit too late to be warming up your tires. That's what I'm trying to say. Grayson Head and Parker Thomas have both brought their cars back to the garage. Grayson Head has a nice time, 1:40.346 in pole right now. Well, a couple of cars out on track that I would bet on spicing things up at the top here. Guillermo Pare is about 2/10 behind Grayson in 3rd place. He has had an improvement in the 1st sector. Yeah, I saw it. I was gonna say, that's a very nice compliment to Dave's livery. He's also... Well, he's not around. He is on run tonight. He also runs a Kodak Mercedes. Guillermo Parade coming down towards Ascari. He's got a Porsche ahead of him. I believe that's Javi Teles. Want to say that? No, Javi has had a yellow flag. That's not Javi Teles. I don't know who that is, but that Porsche is kind of getting in the way now, or giving him a tow, depending on whether you see the glass half full or half empty. Oh no, Gage, what happened? Well, I mean, I can go back and look at the replay, but I'm sorry to see that. I'm sorry to hear that, man. Well, I mean, it is Monza. It's probably the one place where starting last is absolutely not a bad thing. So, Guillermo Pare coming across the line. Oh, and he goes to pole. 140.029. That is a stonking lap from Guillermo. Right when he needed it. So with that, he is not stopping. He's going for one more. He wants that time. Great job by Guillermo, like I said. Guillermo, one of the more sneaky contenders in the top 3 in the championship, has slightly less ballast than the top 2. So he will be looking to take full advantage. As we see, a car has gone off at Della Roggio, right in front of him. This one's right now. And also an outlap. Dakota Botello, it says, is on an outlap, but I don't know if he's not gonna get to the line in time. That's oh, Guillermo Perez, as I go take the camera off him, runs it wide and into the wall. Oh no. Oh, and well, Guillermo, he is on pole, and I don't see anyone like really testing that time. That is a brilliant lap time from Guillermo, but that's, yeah, I think chasing a lap time and kind of having to just coming undone at Lusmo too. Harrison Miller in 5th place right now, about a 10th behind Dakota in 4th. Dakota being unable, has not made it to the line in time. You will have to garage that McLaren, I would think. Yeah, he is. Oh! Dakota, oh my. Well, it is good content. I will give him that. With Dakota Botello clearly making his feelings known. Taking it out on the pit wall there a little bit. Harrison Miller, meanwhile, comes across the line. Improves his time, but not his position. 148.06. So, I believe that's most of the GT3's on. Josh Popoff is going through Parabolica right now. So he is one of the last GT3s, and there's my track map going again. He is the last GT3, in fact. And he's got... Dave Paganini has stopped. It says it's on track. But Josh Popoff improving up to 8th with a 1 minute 40.892. So, pretty close again in the mid-pack. These grids are getting closer and closer with every race. So, this far. So our results from GT3 qualifying: Guillermo Perez on pole with a brilliant lap time there. William Angram in 2nd, but oh, we're making it up to 2nd. Oh, I didn't even notice that. Good job, Willie. 2/10 off of Guillermo. Grayson Head in 3rd is about a 10th off Willie. Parker Thomas in 4th, about 2/10 off Grayson. Dakota Botello right behind Parker. Harrison Miller in 6th place. Nick Johnson in 7th. Josh Popoff in 8th. Both pretty close to Harrison in terms of time, so that's going to be an interesting battle. Dan Poulin in his first race for OOFS in 9th place in the GT3 field. Well done, sir. And Ross McLean in 10th place, only 1.2 seconds off the leader. So, good qualifying, gentlemen. Thomas is hacking. Well, that is our GT3 qualifying results. We now see our LMP2s. Don Bailey is going to take us through the first lap in an LMP2, so we can go on board with him. Going through Delores. Yeah, nice use of the second curb there. That second apex is quite hard to hit perfectly. But Don Bailey pretty much nailing it on his first flyer. Yep. And there we go. And getting pretty well to those 2 Lasmos. And managing to go up to Ascari. Nice little break, carrying a lot of speed in that first apex, but managing to get it hooked for the second. Goes on that exit curb. You can't run it super wide in this game, so you have to be careful there. And Donovan doing a pretty good job, but then lifting. Oh, that's weird. He's kind of bailing on this lap while he's setting up the next one. And the tires taking a moment to warm up. Andrew Canelli, meanwhile, in chat. Typical, asking, once the McLaren is no longer the OP car, asking for the BOP to be fixed. But Don Bailey is going to come across the line to do it. 1 minute 30.952. Right behind him, Michael Quant with a 31.0. As we see the LMP2 screaming towards Curva Grande. 308 kilometers an hour. That's 190-ish miles an hour. My math is right. Abe Wozniak, meanwhile, has gone to the top with the 129. Right? And ooh, yeah, this time not as smooth through Delarogia, but going okay. And nice and planted. You can see the downforce kick in on these cars so much more compared to the GT3s. through the Lesmos. Yeah, those are the corners that will suit the LMP2 best. Those are Scari and Parabolica. Let's see. As he comes down towards said Scari. Almost call it Parabolica. Sacrilege. And goes through. Okay line. Okay line. I'm not sure how the LMP2 drives around here. I'm more of a G3 merchant myself. So, but looks like he's doing okay. Oh, infinite. There we go. And coming through Parabolica, pretty narrow exit, which is good. You reduce the distance you take. Checkered flag. Well, not checkered flag. The start-finish line. On Bailey going a comfortable second ahead of Abe Wozniak. Sitting on 28.87. Of course, this that lap was on warmer tires, so expect to see those times come down. Greg Kachadorian, our LMP2 championship leader, is coming up to finish the second lap. Purple in the first sector. Purple in the second sector, although I don't know why my display is not showing that. Coming up to the line. And Greg Kachadorian is gonna set a 128.930, just about a tenth off of Don Bailey. Yellow in sector 2, Brian Crane. What has happened here? Going through Curva Grande, coming up to De La Roggia. Brakes for the corner. Okay, takes a little bit of sausage, and yep, that's enough to upset the LMP2. Oh, and he pulled out, looking to continue his lap, so good on you, Brian. Andrew Canoli in chat, of course, going. I hope that the LMP2 wins. It's my favorite LMP2 because it's an LMP2. I mean, you can't argue with that logic. Don Bailey has had a purple middle sector. In the first sector, he had purple, but Greg Kachadorian has gone a tenth faster in the first sector. As Don Bailey comes across the line, it's a 128.216. Where is Greg Kachadorian? He is lighting up the timing boards as I see them here. 2 purple sectors. So, remember what I said about the 10 kilos of pop? Yeah, scratch that. Greg is still as fast as ever. Abe Wozniak going up to second at the 128.7. And James Rubio improving up to 4th at the 29.1. Greg Kachadorian is coming up to the line. He's had a mega lap. And he is gonna cross the line, and it's gonna be a 128.376. Again, about a tenth and a half off of Don Bailey. Really close margins here at the front. Meanwhile, the rest, I've not forgotten about the rest of this. Michael Quant and Nate Sides here are pretty close on lap times, only about a couple hundred separating them, as Nate Sides goes a little bit through the gravel. The exit of De La Roggia. Nothing too major. Through the first Lasma, okay. Together in the second. Ooh, that's very close on track limits. There's some good stuff going on in chat. I'm sorry. The chat messages just pop up and I see them and I get completely distracted. As Don Bailey crossed the line, 128.003. Let's see how Greg Kachadorian responds. Purple in the first sector, improvement in the second, but not quite purple. Only a couple hundredths off in the second sector though, so this is going to be pretty close coming up to the line. Kachadorian hurtling down the straight towards the Parabolica. He is gonna brake roughly here. Manages to get it turned in. That is a smooth apex, a smooth exit. Is it going to translate to a smooth operator? He is coming up to the line. And Greg Kachadorian at the 128.272. No, still 2/10 off. You have yellows on both Sector 1 and Sector 2. Don Bailey has returned to the garage. Is he going to go out though? He is going to go out for another run. I'm guessing that incident was not planned. Can go back and look at that though. Whenever my replay app gets it. There we go. Bailey going through Curva Grande. Is he going to have a similar moment as we saw with Brian Crane just a moment ago? Coming up to De La Roggia. Oh, and okay. Didn't seem to hit the curb as hard as Brian did, but still was the same result. And loop loop around that first apex. Categorian is still out there and trying to. James Rubio, by the way, he has gone back to the garage. I think he's done with qualifying. I don't see him playing the pits. He's done on 128.420. Nice. That's a very good lap by James. Well done to you, sir. Abe Wozniak is also sitting in the pits. I don't think he's going to continue his lap. 28.720 from him. So, not too bad from our LMP2. Asturian has a purple sector 2. Sector 1 is only marginally off, only about a 100th off his best. Gonna come across the line, and it's a 28.145. He still has time for a couple more laps though, so Asturian is definitely gonna try and get that pole. Listen hard. Don Bailey is ending his second odd lap, I should call it, and he is gonna have about 2 more flyers as well. Gonna be interesting to see where these times end up. Oh, as he goes super wide. Don, you're gonna have to lift because that might invalidate your next lap. He is gonna start the lap. We'll see if this lap stands for Don Bailey after that moment at Parabolica. Nate Sides is going rally crossing between the Lesmos. I'm not entirely sure that's the optimal line there. But he will have time to set another lap after that. Chris McLennan has returned to the garage. He had a yellow flag a moment ago. Coming up. Is he just gonna stop? He's just gonna stop, isn't he? Yeah, of course. Of course. So, nothing serious there. I should probably just disqualify all the Sector 1 yellows as people finishing their lap. That would be the smart thing to do. Greg's got the power of the Armenian PP brand. Yeah, probably. Probably. You could ask him. Oh, Brian Crane has looked in Sector 3. Oh, so coming up to Ascari. What's happened to you, Brian? As we go to Ascari. Oh, and again, just looping around. Yeah, these cars in low downforce specs seem pretty sensitive in the high-speed stuff. Don Bailey is setting up a lap. It shows as valid to me. Oh, as I go to him. Oh my goodness, the timing. And Don Bailey has spun off. I believe that's Parabolica. And that's his lap done and his quali done. So Greg Katchadurian has also boxed about, again, a 10th of Don Bailey's time. So that's pretty much the order set. Only one out is Michael Quant in 6th, looking to improve his time. 20 seconds to go. He's just crossing the bridge, and he is slowing down. So that's curtains on qualifying, folks. And we can now set the grid. So for the LP2, starting on row 1, Don Bailey and Greg Katchadurian. Pretty close on times again, so this is going to be interesting. James Rubio and Abe Wozniak on row 2. James Rubio with a great time there. Hans Montez and Michael Quant on row 3. Very, very close. Only 300 separating the two. Impressive. Nate Sides pretty close to them behind. And then Chris McLennan in 8th. Brian Crane on 9th. Bringing up the back of the field in the LMP2s. Guillermo Pare, our GT3 pole. And followed up by William Angram and Grayson Head. Parker Thomas and Dakota Botello bringing up 5th and 6th for GT3s, followed by Harrison Miller and Nick Johnson. Close times over here. Josh Popoff and Dan Pullen will also be sharing a great row, or not. Ross McLean and Dave Pacanini. And Richie Wood and Howie Tellez. They are 12th and 13th for GT. Matthew Canali and Justin Fortuna in 14th and 15th. Ron Heslop and Donnie Greathouse in 16th and 17th. Dustin Rand and Dave Harris in 18th and 19th for GT3s. And Casey Jackman, MT Garney, and I believe Gage Galvin bringing up the rear. So with that, we actually have no randomly setting cars on the grid other than myself. Good job, everybody. With that, we have a few minutes to go until the race starts, so... No, not the LMP2. Curse of the commentator. Man, the timing, man, the timing. It was just meant to be. The commentator's curse just strikes when you least expect it to, and also when you most expect it to, somehow. But anyways, a couple minutes to go for our race start. Eduardo Freitas will jump scare me in a second. So before that, let's go into the championships. So today marks the 4th round of our Multiclass championship. There's Freitas. So 55-minute races with double tire and fuel usage, as I was mentioning at the top of the broadcast for anyone who missed. So it's a mini endurance series for people who would want to practice endurance, but more in a league racing scene where there's a lot more cleaner racing than, say, a public lobby could be. And we do pride ourselves on that quite a lot. And we also have a sprint championship, which is tailored for people who are just getting into LMU or just want a bit more seat time in the GT3s and don't want to worry about strategy. So those are 30-minute races with normal tire and fuel usage, so no mandatory pit stop enforced by those usage limits. So that follows our multi-class calendar on Wednesdays. And those are pretty good for like I said, beginner drivers. So I believe both championships have open slots. So if you want to register, head on over to the Discord. And we do also have our championship on SimGrid. You can always head to the Discord and flag someone to ask for help. 45 seconds to race. So yeah, if you want to go take a nervous pee or grab a drink, I will let you do that, and I will join you as the formation lap starts.
Formation lap has started.
Okay, we are so back. So Don Belliot, Greg Kachadorian will lead us to green. Now, Monza does get pretty crowded at turn 1. I do see a bit of a gap assigned between the classes this time. I remember last season when we did Monza, that was not a thing. Things got pretty spicy at turn 1, but fortunately this time, turn 1 has been postponed a little bit, as we will see our cars get to the flag. And Harrison, I did notice your comment. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's a big upgrade over the previous graphics package, but we'll have time for that later, as we have green. Some pretty close 3 wides in the P2 field. I do see some racing in the GT3s. I have a lot of overtakes happening in the mid pack and the GT3s. They're going pretty aggressive. Guillermo Paré kind of chopping and trying to cut the toe, as Don Bailey has managed to hold on to his position in the LMP2 lead. Greg Kachadorian is still right behind him, though, tailing him in that draft. This is one of those tracks where pole position is not as much of an advantage as you'd think normally, but Don Bailey has managed to hold on to P1, as Greg Kachadorian goes the wrong side of that sausage curb at Della Roggia, manages to stay in front of James Rubio, and there's not much going on. Ooh, there's a yellow in Sector 2, that's Justin Fortuna. What has happened here? As we see the GT3 field kind of pile into Della Roggia. Oh, Justin Fortuna going straight into the grass, doing incredibly well to avoid the rest of the field. So a bit of the ego damage, the only thing to get damaged out of that incident. But I do see other incidents happening in the field. Holy Mangrum going through Della Roggia. Get through okay. As that coming through Lasmo 1. And there's no contact. Okay. This replay system is pranking me now. But anyways, not much has changed at the top. We do see the positions. qualification. Let's go. You see. Yep, as Don Bailey has managed to clear Greg Castorian. The gap is up to 1 second after the first lap. Good job of in the attempt to break the draft. Now let's look at the LMP2 field has spread out quite a bit. GT3 field has spread out quite a bit. My goodness, the top three have pulled away. Dakota, Botello, and fourth is 2.7 seconds off of William Mangrum in third. I wonder what happened there. You know, Parker Thomas getting real close here to... Who's that in front? That's Dakota Botello, yeah. So... pretty close. Him and Harrison Miller are looking very interested in that McLaren. Keep in mind, of course, Dakota Botello with like 35 kilos of ballast. So Casey Jackman has had a drive-through at the start. I do not think that was a pre-race applied DT. He's had a yellow flag as well. So mods, if you wanna look at, if you want a reference, there is one. Casey Jackman has returned to the garage. I believe that is a DNF for Casey Jackman. Unfortunately, let's see what happened. Oh, just died going through Curva Grande. I wish I'd set up the Curva Grande counter now, but Casey Jackman. Oh, and then returning and straight into the wall. Oh my! What a happy camper there, Casey Jackman. Further back to the field, we have an overtake by Gage Galvin. The stewards decided. Oh. Okay, convoy. As Gage Galvin going side by side with MT Garney, managing to get past on the run to Parabolica. I believe that Justin Fortuna has also done this. Oh, Gage Galvin! As I give him a compliment, and he immediately goes and does that. Almost taking on Matthew Canali, but doing well to stay, to pull out of the way, pull out of hitting that BMW's rear backside. As Justin Fortuna has got past Ron Hessler. There's quite a bit of a gap there, so I wonder what's happened. Meanwhile, out front, the order has basically not changed. Can I say that? Is that real? Yeah, basically no changes in the LMP2 field. Michael Kwan has got past Hans Montes. But Grayson Head has gained that second place off of William Mangrum, who has dropped off quite a bit. He's 2 seconds behind Grayson now, so clearly that Mercedes showing some serious pace, although now that gap suddenly comes down to 1.3. I'm not sure. Still a lot going on over here. But the gaps have pretty much settled out. Abe Wozniak is getting really close to James Rubio, who gets a very wide exit out of Parabolica. So that will set up Abe in the toe nicely. Is that Michael Kwan behind him? Yeah, Michael Kwan behind him is gonna look at this and think, ooh, I sense an opportunity. Abe Wozniak drafting James Rubio, going for the outside line. James Rubio is going to try and hold the inside in defense. Does not quite have the overlap. Ooh, getting real squirrely through there. They are still side by side. They managed to survive 2 wide through Curva Grande. Hold on to them for that, but James Rubio is going to outbreak Abe Wozniak, and oh no! Hey, no! Probably going for a move that was maybe not 100% on. I don't know, I'll let the stewards look at that and decide, but geez, that was quite the move, Abe. He has gotten going again, so good on him for that. Still a long race to go, Abe. So you got a lot of time to make up for that. Parker Thomas has dropped off the back of Dakota Botello a bit, 2.5 seconds behind now. Botello has caught up to Willie. Meanwhile, Josh Popoff over here is going to try and go for a move on Harrison Miller, is he? No, choosing to stay back. Harrison defending a little bit and telling Popoff exactly what's going to happen if he tries to go for that move. But everyone is kind of keeping it civilized for now. Botello has got past William Mangrum. Oh, hello, and it shows possible contact. I don't know if that's true. But I do not see anything happening here, right? But we have one. Javi Tella is on the back of Richie Wood. So we will see what happens with this battle. Gap has gone up a little bit coming out of the exit of Lasma 2. But will this ball do anything? Doesn't look like it. Yeah, Richie Wood doing well to hold on here. Not succumbing to pressure just yet. Josh Popov and Harrison Miller are still dueling. So they are going to come up to the longest straight on this track. They run all the way from Parabolica to Della Roggia. Can Popov set up something? We saw in the sprint race that Ferrari, not the fastest in the straight line, but maybe Popov does have something in his tank, as Harrison Miller is slowly creeping up on Parker Thomas in front. So maybe there's his outlet. No, my fault. Coming through this little train for P5 in the GT3 field. Not much happening right now. See if that changes. Oop. As Dustin Ran has managed to get past Empty Garney and further behind. There's a bit of jostling going on here. As they are going through Curva Grande, Dustin staying on the racing line. Empty Garney has been passed. What's going on there? Let's go back to Veli and Dakota. What happened here? So Veli getting a pretty slow exit out of Della Roggia, and seems like a pretty easy pass for Dakota in the end there. Ooh! Oh, that's why it gave me a possible contact. So Veli and Dakota having a bit of a door bang, but nothing serious comes out of it. So all's fair in love and racing, apparently. Harrison Miller, meanwhile, has slowly sneaking up on Parker Thomas, who I'm sure is well aware of that Mustang in his rearview mirrors. He's gonna stay behind. There's a pretty big draft. Oh, it's Parker Thomas going really slowly through there. Ooh, there's a yellow in sector 2 and 3. That tells me that something's happened at Ascari. I think it's Ron Heslop and Nick Johnson who've gotten into a bit of a tangle. Wait and see what happens on the straight and then go and look at that right away. As Josh Popov is currently at risk from Dan Pullen right behind. Pullen is pulling to the inside. I apologize for that, but he is going to get that move done before Curva Grande. Josh Popov is going to sit in the draft and maybe hope for a repass at Della Roggia, but doesn't look like that's going to happen. Dan Pullen moving up. Ooh, it's a bit of gravel being kicked up by the cars in front. Dan Pullen moving up to 8th and 7th on GT3s. Okay. Harrison Miller still behind Parker Thomas. Let's take a look at what happened with Nick Johnson. So, now up on Ron Heslop into Ascari. As for Nick Johnson, but I thought, wait, why is he so far back? Oh, Ron Heslop just went into the wall. That's what the possible contact was. Oh, and losing his rear wing too. Oh no. Is he still on track? No, Ron Heslop is in the pit lane. He's getting it fixed. Good on him for continuing. Further out in front, Guillermo Paré has built a nice lead over Grayson Head for the GT3s. Don Bailey in a comfortable lead in LMP2 as well. Greg Casadorian 4 seconds back. Wow, Don Bailey is having a great race out front here. Of course, I already cursed over the commentator's curse once. I don't know if that was my curse for the broadcast, but ooh, a little squirrely on exit, having to pass Gage Galvin and the Lexus. This is a Lexus livery. That's a pretty nice Lexus livery. What is that? Autobox? I don't even know. That looks pretty cool though. Right. William Mangrum has set the fastest lap of the GT3 field so far. He is chasing Dakota Botello, so sitting in that draft, maybe getting a bit of a slipstream advantage. And he does seem like it. Meanwhile, further back, Josh Popov is not giving up on this fight. He is still right behind Dan Pullen, looking to make something happen. You know, ooh, big contact between Harrison Miller and Parker Thomas. What on earth? That's definitely not what happened. So I don't know why my replay system is freaking out. Gage Galvin and Michael Quant have had a moment. Michael Quant coming up to lap him. This is going into Curva Grande. Oh no. This is going to be our first 2 wide between 2 classes into Curva Grande. Let's see how this goes. Oh, Michael Quant just about making that work. Gage Galvin washing out pretty wide there, trying to give the LMP2 the space. But nothing too serious in the end. He's a Japanese. Oh, it's all Japanese brands. Oh, okay, that makes sense, Kanoe. Meanwhile, Empty Garney and Brian Crane have had a moment. Brian Crane lapping Nick Johnson. The admin's doing pretty well to stay out of each other's way. And coming up to lap Empty Garney. Let's see how this goes. Ooh, Garney kind of turning in a little bit there, but nothing serious. That's just my my replay software kind of freaking out a little bit. All these close passes between classes is kind of causing my software a need to get glasses. I don't know. I tried it around there. I don't know what that was. Michael Quant and James Rubio, meanwhile, going side by side while lapping traffic. Okay, that is a choice. As they are going to go too wide. Are they going to go too wide into Curva Grande? Oh my. No, Michael Quant deciding to back out of it a little bit. They are going to come up with a Mercedes up to Paganini. Oh, and making contact as James Rubio had to back up to avoid running over that Mercedes. But managing to make it through okay, that must have been terrifying to view from those drivers' perspectives. But managing to navigate around Dave Paganini okay in the other Kodak livery car on this track. Hans Montez's LMP2, the other Kodak livery car, coming up, funnily enough, to lap Dave Paganini. So if you ever wanted to get a shot of the two Kodak cars side by side, now's your chance, ladies and gentlemen. As there, 3, 2, 1, click. There we go. And Richie Wood and Hans Montez, it says have had a moment, but they clearly haven't. So a little bit unreliable. Oh, as I see a big gravel cloud. Chris McLennan. I'm gonna pull out the Paganini. We're doing okay. Oh, and cutting across. So that wasn't it. Who was that? Who's dropped off so much? Abe Wozniak. Oh, Abe Wozniak has spun. Oh, and he spun again. He's clearly not very happy with that car at the moment. Oh, he is gonna continue though, so good on him. What happened to the Scary? Real Kodak moment. As no, this is going into Del Roger, so this is after what happened to the Scary. So, really, oof. Yeah, and so spinning the tires at 2x tire wear does tend to make the rears really worn out. That's probably what's happening. Don't see Parker Thomas having dropped off massively, so software. Oh, I say that, and Parker Thomas having to go to the other side of the sausage at Del Roggio to avoid Nate's sides. Now side by side with Harrison Miller through Lesmo 1, Miller taking the outside line. But both surviving okay. Parker's gonna... Oh, and he sent it a bit too hot into Lesmo 2, and Harrison Miller's turned around, and Parker Thomas has gone into the gravel. Oh no! Parker Thomas, I think, waited a little bit there, but Harrison is taking a moment. Oh, there's been another crash. Richie Wood in the Lamborghini has spun out at Lesmo 2. What is happening here, folks? It's all kicking off as Richie is holding his brakes, doing a good job. He's gonna spin that car around to get back on track, is he? He is. But my goodness, so much kicking off and just once so quickly. Brian Crane and Chris McLennan are battling going into Parabolica. Oh my. Folks, if you're joining us, welcome to you. Thank you for being here, but this has been crazy. I can barely keep up anymore. As Brian Crane has got past Chris McLennan. Brian Crane, starting from the back of the grid, has now made up a spot. Back at the grid for the LP2s, that is. Matthew Kennelly is spinning in this train with Donnie Greathouse for a little bit, I think, now. Oh, Willie Mangan and Chris McLennan. It says possible contact, but it's between classes. And Willie has not lost an appreciable amount of time, so I think we're fine there. Brian Crane. Oh. Hans Montez has had a moment. Oh no, the Kodak LMP2 has had a Kodak moment. Yikes. Yeah, this is all sort of kicking off. Hans, I think that was just your box standard spin into Della Roggia, I think. There's a lot going on, so I don't really have the time to go back and replay that. Okay, we're still at this side. Ross McLean and Parker Thomas are now pretty close. Parker, of course, trying to recover now from that incident with Harrison. Harrison Miller himself is down in 16th in the GT3 field. Yeah, this has been a pretty wild first 12, was it 17 minutes of this race? We haven't even gone into the rain yet. So, coming up here, as Ross McLean getting a lot of interest there from, I believe that's Dave Harris in their Ferrari. This battle is developing nicely. While McLaren and Brian Crane have had a moment. They've both not really fallen behind Hans Montes. Yeah. Folks just trying to keep up, trying to get my situational awareness back on track. Let's go and look at this incident anyway. Mr. Purser, you say? There's possible contact between Brian Crane and Chris McLean going into Dalrottia. Crane having to be quite hard to break the... but no contact there. Okay. That's just the game pranking me, as Dave Paganini has gone into the gravel. Or is that Hans Montes? I think that's Hans Montes on the other Kodak livery car. Yeah, this was right in front of these two. He's had a moment on the brakes, normally. Hits that sausage curb, and yep, that's enough. We saw that in practice, and we saw it in qualifying. That sausage curb is deadly to the LMP2s. You can get away with it a little bit in the GT3s, but not so much here. For the back, these battles, you can see the two closest battles in GT3s on screen at the same time here. That's Ross McLean and Dave Harris, and Matthew Canelli and Donnie Greathouse. Both still in their respective positions. Drivers are getting pretty low on energy or fuel, so we are gonna get a pretty close. We're gonna see cars start to pull into the pits in a lap or two's time. Bailey, where is Don Bailey? He is going between the Lesmos and he's pretty far ahead. He's 14 seconds ahead of Greg Kachadorian. Jesus, what a lead built up by Don Bailey in this opening stint. Done very well so far here. Guillermo Paré likewise has built a 5.2 second gap to Grayson ahead. You can just well see Grayson popping into frame right now. Yeah, the class leaders pretty comfortably in position as Justin Fortuna has come into the pits a little early. He still had there. But is the rain starting here? I can't see the weather. Oh no, wait, I do see it. There is no rain right now. So if he is switching to wets right now, that is a pretty bold move. As Tuna is in the pit box, but I don't see his BE refilling. So maybe that's a different thing entirely. Ron Heslop, of course, had to get his rear wing fixed. He is currently on a completely different strategy. Dave Paganini holding on in 7th place. Ooh. There's been a bit of it. Oh yeah, that was Parker and Harrison probably pushing them up a couple of spots. Put everyone behind them a couple of spots. Parker Thomas is still doing pretty well. Hanks only down to 9. Yeah, Canelli. I'm not sure if anyone's taking wets. We'll see. Oh, as the LMP2 field is pulling into the pits, we will see if they take tires. Or take the wet tires, I should say. So, looks like so far the rain is just starting. The rain is just starting. So, you can see the raindrops forming up. So, so this is gonna be tricky. What tires has Don Bailey taken? Can I get a TV cam that actually shows the tires? That's gonna be interesting. All the things that this overlay tells me, the tires are the only thing it does not. Let's come out. Can't tell what tires those are. I'll keep you posted if I can find out what tires they're on. Okay, so these guys are all in the pits. Paganini has gone ahead on another lap. William Mangrum and Josh Popov and Dave Paganini, Parker Thomas, all these guys have fuel saved for an additional lap. Everyone else has pulled into the pits. Includes Guillermo Paré, just about exiting the pit box now. He is on wets. I do believe those are the wet tires. I see the blue Goodyear logos on those. So yeah, that's a great question. What did Tuna take? Justin Fortuna is on the slicks. I believe that's the slicks because I see the flashes of yellow on the tires. But that's probably slick tires. He is gonna stay out. It's still only at 6% rain. It's not gonna be too bad right now. You can see sort of the raindrops everywhere on the car and wipers wiping away. Yeah, so a few GT3s taking wet tires. I'm not so sure about the LMP2s just yet. Haven't seen what tires Bailey or anyone of those guys took. They go by too fast for me to tell. Yeah, Justin Fortuna may have just been screwed a little bit by timing there. As the rain is intensifying. Willie Mangrum coming in, and he has taken wet tires. That is pretty easy to see. James Rubio out on track. He took a little bit less energy, I think. Has jumped Greg Cachadorian in the pits. He's in second place. The question, though, is have any of the LMP2s taken wet tires? Because the rain came in right as they entered the pit box. So I don't know if they had the time to set up a wet tire pit stop. James Rubio coming through De La Roggia. This is probably the best chance I'll get to see what tires that he's on. It does... I still can't tell. The rest of the GT3s are just have come into the pits. All the guys who have saved an extra lap. But these guys are in prime position. Richie Wood exiting the pits. He is a lap down on these guys, but I believe those are wets. Yes. So Richie Wood with the chance to make up some positions. I mean, time to switch to wets probably at the perfect time. Rain is at 10%. So this is, I think, the time when the wets really start to come into their own. First, we got a little bit early. The wet tires on a much softer compound, and they do overheat pretty hard if the track is too dry. Dakota Botello, meanwhile, has jumped Guillermo Pare and Willie Mangrum to take the lead, but I don't think he's changed tires. He's still on the slicks, so he has to make a stop. Oh, and you can see he's on the slicks, missing the braking zone at De La Roggia pretty hard and having to slow down to avoid getting a hefty track cut penalty. There is an interesting math equation here for the strategy, of course. He's really struggling. Oh no. Yeah, he's going to have to come in. Those tires are clearly no good. As you can see, Richie Wood, a car that is a lap down, comfortably catching him. Dakota Botello has no grip on those slicks. So this is going to be a tough one for him. Justin Fortuna as well is kind of struggling a little bit. His last lap, 2 seconds off his best. And it's only going to get worse from here. Willie Mangrum is... Well, I haven't got a Sector 2 time just yet to compare. Guillermo Pare went about 3 seconds faster than Dakota did in Sector 2 alone. So yeah, Dakota Botello is going to have to come in. I was going to say, as he went off at Las 1, that there is a chance that you could probably sneak in splash and dash, and then if the rain doesn't progress too quickly, you can get through. But Nick Johnson has gone off in Sector 2. It's just caused a yellow flag. I'm not sure. He's gone pretty slowly. Are those wet? Oh, a big spin. Oh my god, Nick managing to stay out of everyone's way. He is on slicks. So yeah, definitely crossover time. The dry tires are not in the window anymore. Nick Johnson also getting a drive-through for just to, pull salt on the wound. Oh, and there's another big crash. Nate Sides, that was, I believe, having gone off into the gravel. Is he also... No, I think he's on wets. Yeah, even on the wets, Nate Sides immediately locking the rears on braking into a Lasmo 2 and going into the gravel. Richie Wood, meanwhile, has also had a yellow flag. Going through Curva Grande, and oh no! Lambo letting go at the Curva Grande, and yup, that is a big hit and a big spin from that barrier. We've seen that from a couple cars, as Harrison Miller goes into the wall as well! What is happening? Richie Wood, that's gotta have caused a lot of damage. He's struggling to stay straight. Harrison Miller... Oh! Big crashes happening at the Curva Grande, folks. That's Dave Harris also into the wall. Oh my, there is quite a lot happening. The Dave Harris has lost a tire. That is the end of his race. That is a brutal way to go out for that. I feel for him. as Cliff McLennan has also had a moment. He has gone straight on at Ascari. So yeah, a lot of stuff kicking off as Grayson Head. Ooh! Massive moment in the Mercedes, managing to hold it together on the exit of Ascari. Insane job there, Grayson. Well done. But jeez, this is all going sideways as Chris McLennan delicately getting the car through Parabolica. The wet conditions, it's going to be tricky because also it's at that phase of wet where the rubber line is going to be the most slippery. It's just started getting damp. Richie Wood, oh, that Lambo looks in bad shape. But I did see a moment with, oh, Donny Greathouse getting really close. Oh, everyone managing to dodge that slow Lamborghini. And a good job, folks. Oh, wait, why is he in Delarogia? I thought he had gone into the pits. Ugh. Yeah. Oh no, that is an Ascari. My apologies. Those corners look awfully similar from watching Harrison Miller behind him as well. Both these drivers have gone to the wall at Curva Grande. Both are limping their way back to the pits. Harrison in slightly better shape, I imagine. James Rubio has also had a yellow flag. Oh my goodness. Folks, this is Monza. This is Monza. Oh, it's almost saved it. Almost saved it and then just got the death snap coming out of Ascari. Oh no. And Nathan Sides has caused, I believe, 2 yellow flags in mere moments. In the span of about a minute, actually. So Nate Sides coming up to Ascari has also had a moment. Oh my goodness. Yeah, folks, everything is kicking off. Greg Cacciadorian, meanwhile, has also had a yellow flag moment. What is this going into Delarogia and just the car looping around? The LMP2's all suffering in the wet. Goodness, guys. So this race is going to be less about who's the fastest and more about who's going to keep it on track at this rate. Holy moly. Don Bailey has dropped to 4th. That, I imagine that's a bad strategy call, and pitting for this, not changing to the wets when he came into the pits. That has dropped him all the way down from a comfortable lead to 4th place and about, what is it, 30 seconds behind the leader, Greg Cacciadorian, even with Greg's spin. So a lot of catching up to do for Don Bailey as more and more attrition, folks. Chris McLennan is in the pits, he as well as James Rubio. Rubio had a moment a bit earlier. Chris McLennan had a moment just now. Donny Greathouse has had a moment. He is very wide into the gravel at Ascari. Oh, as we see Justin Fortune. Oh my goodness! More! Guys, what on earth is happening? Was that Don Bailey? Was that Don Bailey? That's Don Bailey! Into the wall at Ascari, and now he is crabbing all the way across the track. Folks, this is crazy, as Don Bailey, our comfortable race leader from Stint 1, is now limping his way to the pits, and that's going to be a lengthy repair. Grayson Head going off. Oh, what is happening, folks? I cannot keep up anymore, as Grayson Head has gone wide at Lasmo 1. Willie Mangrum is now on his tail. Grayson is, I believe he's on the wets. Yeah, he's on the wets. What on earth is happening? How is the wet line this How is the dry line this slippery in the wets? This is insane. Listen. Oh, come on! No! That Mercedes really sketchy on the rubber line going through Ascari. Grayson Head somehow managing to keep the car pointed in the right direction as we see a possible contact between Nick Johnson and Michael Kwan. This looks like this might have been just been a false alarm. I don't see a yellow for Nick. Oh, getting a big moment out of Lasmo 1. And Michael Kwan managing to left him safely, but not without it getting pretty hairy first. Oh, there's, folks, this is nuts. This is the craziest race I have seen in a very long time. Donny Greathouse has had another moment, this time at the exit of Lasmo 1. That is the exit of Lasmo 1, I think. No, that's the exit of Lasmo 2. Yeah. Oh, Abe. That sucks. Dave Harris also dead in the chat. Man, guys, commiserations on your races, folks. This track is brutal in the wet from what I've seen. Especially with the latest LMU wet weather update. Not going well. We've had multiple spins a lap. Dave Paganini, another yellow flag, is going up to Lesmo 1. What is it gonna be? It's gonna be that outside line. Just the camber goes away very quickly on the outside there, and yeah, Dave's just lost grip. I don't blame you, Dave. This has turned into a war zone. Grayson Head has lost second place to William Ingram in the middle of all of this, and he is going very wide. What is going on with this Mercedes? It's just got nothing in the wet. That's shocking. Dave Paganini off again. Oh my. As Josh Popov is now closing in on Grayson Head and a potential podium. Josh Popov, one of the guys who pitted a lap later than most of the GT3 field, and I think that gamble has paid off for him. Remember what I think that slightly dry track has really messed up the wet tires. That's just that one lap difference, and we're seeing Josh Popov just breeze past into a podium position. So. Yeah, just lots going on. Grayson Head, Rubio, no, that's just lapping Instagram. I'm literally looking at them right now. As James Rubio going on the outside of Parabolica to lap Josh Popov. LP2 has enough of a grip advantage to make that work. Another yellow in Sector 3. Chris McLennan, oh no. Gotta say, ooh, yeah, another victim at us. Oh, this isn't a Ascari, not a Della Roggia. That's why it says Sector 3. Ugh. Parker Thomas, meanwhile, has made up a position on Grayson Head. What's happening, folks? Grayson is in the pits. He has gone to the pits. That explains it. So probably just those tires are shot. He has changed them. That is heartbreak for Grayson Head, who is fighting for pole, the P2 for the whole first stint, and then just the weather change. Just introducing that little bit of chaos. Oh, as Hans Fontes has looped it, I think. Going through. Yep, he has looped it going through Della Roggia. Just one more victim to the list, folks. Michael Quant has had a yellow as well. Yeah, I think even my replay program has given up a little bit. It is not able to call out all the yellows that are happening right now. As Michael going through Lesmo 2, and yeah, that's another LMP2 bites the dust. Josh Popov is showing a yellow flag. Oh no! Popov! No! On the exit of Lesmo 2! Has had a moment, and behind, they're all battling. What is happening? As that is Russ McLean in 7th going on Dakota. That Ron Heslop, that's a car that's a lap down. So he's not really fighting him, but he is closing in on Dakota Botello. So the McLaren of Ron Heslop, meanwhile, just running wide at Ascari, so that lets Ross McLean through. Carson Miller has had a yellow flag moment as well. This is going into Parabolica, I want to say. Yep, going through on the throttle, and just the car lets go. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Just the sheer carnage that we're witnessing right now. As Hans Monta is looking at again. Okay, folks, I'm gonna have to probably give up on reporting every single one of these. It's just a lost cause at this point. I'll do my best to keep up with what's happening on track. It's mostly just been people trying desperately to survive. Dakota Botello has caught up to Josh Popov after his spin, and he is going to pass him for P5 in GT3s. We have two LMP2 retirements so far, as they are still going to go side by side. Josh Popov not giving this up without a fight, but he's kind of going to be out-dragged here going into Della Roggia. And yeah, Dakota Botello up to 5th place in GT3s. Dan Poland, in the middle of all this chaos, is in his debut race, is sitting in a podium spot in the GT3s now. So, good stuff from Dan, showing good survival skills. We have another yellow flag, that's Gage Galvin. Where is he stopped? He is at the exit of Ascari. He has let people through. Stayed out of the way. So, good job there, Gage. Hans Montes has had another moment. Yeah, this is at one. This is, I believe, West Mill 1. Yep, just coming through, rejoining safely. But you're gonna have to manage those tires now, Hans. Let them cool down. Let them cool down. Nate Sides has got past Chris McLennan. Ooh, in the middle of some traffic too. I wonder what happened here. Chris McLennan, yeah, going wide at Ascari, and that rejoin was a little bit on the sketchy side, but managing to make it work. So Nate Sides has got that position. He is up to 5th in the LMP2 field. Brian Crane, meanwhile, has moved up to the podium spot in the LMP2s. I have not given this field much thought, much airtime or thought. I'm so sorry. There's just been a lot going on, but Brian Crane is up to 3rd, 90 seconds ahead of James Rubio in 4th. So sitting very pretty right now. Michael Quant is in 2nd place in his first race back, and Greg Cachadorian is, as always, in the lead. Well done to you guys. Good stuff on holding out in this weather. People really staying on the dry line. Yeah, I don't know how the wet line works in Alamu, Canelli. It's still a bit of a mystery to me. I know that if you stay on the dry line, it's just all rubbered and greasy, but oh, there's one more. Another one. But yeah, I don't know what the right line in the wet is in this so yeah, that's something that I'm also going to have to test out, just looking at how slippery it is out there. How we tell us? Michael Quant has had a moment. This is at Parabolic, I think. Oh, Brian Crane almost following him into the gravel. So we have a battle for P2 in the LMP2s. We see Brian Crane in the draft, and they're both gonna have to pass Guillermo Perez, who is the leader of the GT3. So a little bit of extra caution over there. Brian Crane though is going. Is he past him? He is past him. So both cars safely past Guillermo, though Michael has had a bit of a slow run. Brian Crane has got a good run coming up into Della Roggia, but not daring to send it in these conditions. They've already proved pretty treacherous for our LMP2 drivers. So Brian Crane's still staying in the draft. Nini's exiting. That must have been damage repair or something. But this video says disconnected. Okay, there we go. I'm not sure what's happening there, but James Rubio is straight down to Parabolica. These guys are just entering Ascari, that looks like. Yeah, James Rubio in danger of getting left here by 2nd and 3rd place. Oh, they've all stopped again. Chris McLennan in 3 stops. Okay, but that's partly why we've had such a big gap in LMP2s, I think. And looking back at some moments, that's in Parker Thomas. Parker Thomas has not really lost anything. He's in fact up to 4th place. That is a great recovery after having that spin at Lesmo 2 and that incident with Harrison Miller. But back up to P4. Lil P is getting in there, doing great. We have a battle in the GT3. Ross McLean on Josh Popoff. Popoff, I believe, still carrying some damage from that impact. There's a slow car ahead of them. That's Nick Johnson. Johnson's still hanging this out. Admirable spirit from Nick there. So these guys are going to come up on him. And Dave Pacanini are fighting for position around them, but they're still 2 seconds apart, so they have this little pocket where they can have their battle. Ross McLean not quite able to get Josh Popoff there going into Ascari, and don't really have enough of a draft going down the straight to Parabolica. Is now getting a run. The yellows in sector, quite a lot of yellows in sector 2. Although they're a little bit far apart, so I believe those are independent incidents. Michael Quant has gone off. Oh, hold on. That's something we'll have to look at. Michael Quant and Brian Crane were fighting for position. Oh, this is going into Della Roggia. Is this what I think it is? It is what I think it is. Yep, just the rear snapping on braking. These cars And they are really struggling in the wets. Nick Johnson and Grayson Head. Oh, Grayson Head without a rear wing. Oh no! Oh! What has happened here? Are they both in Sector 1? They're both in Sector 1. Oh no. So is there some side-by-side stuff happening here? Oh. Nick Johnson was, you know, he had these leaders behind him. He's had a moment. But this is a Del Roger, so this is completely separate from what happened to Grayson. What did happen to Grayson? Coming through Curva Grande. Did he touch the curb? He didn't touch the curb. But yeah, that Mercedes rear just lets go. Straight into the wall. Oof. Oof, that is a brutal end. Dude, that, I believe that is a retard. That is a DNF for Grayson Head. Sorry, Grayson. So, counting Casey, who is still in, it says he's in the garage, but I'm pretty sure he is a DNF. He's only completed 2 laps. That is, we are up to 6 DNFs today. A lot of casualties on this track. Michael Kwan getting back up to speed after a yellow flag. Oh, oof, that rear end looking so sketchy coming out of lesson 2. My god, well held by Michael Kwan, but I think those rear tires do look done. They do not want to be contacting that road anymore. As who do we have? We do have Nathan Sides and Chris McLennan having a little battle here for P5 in the LMP2s. They're gonna go into Ascari, nothing doing so far. For Nate Sides. Chris McLennan doing well. Holding the line, not really bowing to pressure. Nate Sides is gonna go very wide at Ascari. Is he gonna have to back off to avoid the track limit? He kinda is, I think. He definitely backed off quite a bit there. But Michael Kwan has come into the pits, I think. Yeah, that's either that suspension damage or his rear tires were really bad, just looking at it. As Nate Sides is going to go around the outside of Chris McLennan, who got quite a bad run out of Parabolica. And that, I think, is position sealed. Chris McLennan will have the draft, but looking at that run, I don't know if that's going to be enough. He is staying within range. 3/10 off of Chris, but 3/10 off of Sides. Where Chris McLennan is just going to have to concede that position. That is P5 for Nate Sides. He's coming up to the G3 leader, Guillermo Paré. And Nate Sides is gonna wait. So GT3, ooh, as Guillermo having to take the other side and slowing down to avoid the track limits. As Chris McLennan also has a moment at Del Roggio, but manages to get going again. So that's P5 sealed for Nate Sides. This is still showing the okay, that's a bit delayed. He's back on track. Few of the LMP2s having to pit for fuel, by the way. Michael Kwan is wrong. The Michael Kwan, let's say he was in the pits. It looks like he's just fixed damage. He's still pretty low on fuel. Oh, never mind. There it goes. There it's updated. So, yep, Michael Kwan has gone for a refuel. I believe that should be enough to get him to the end of the race. He's on about 50% fuel. And, Brian Crane now pits. He also has to take fuel. He's down to about 4%. Greg Kachadorian will most likely be coming in this lap as well. He's on about 5% as he crosses the sector line. For a real moist line. Yeah. That's been pretty tricky for these guys today. I imagine that the LMU vet line being so weird has something to do with it, but... Well, some people say weird, some might say realistic, but I don't know. We are experienced ACC vet line, so the LMU vet line is quite new to me. Guillermo Paré coming in for his final stop, about 13% VE. But this should be a fairly short splash, and that shows 6% as he crosses the line. Looks like the GT3s only update once a lap, or when I'm focused on. The Kachadorian is going to come into the pits. Brian Crane is exiting the pits. He has refilled to the end, I believe. What he had reflected in the display. You're gonna see a few more. Dan Pullen pulling into the pits. I did not want to make another pun there. just as Guillermo Perez leaves his box, so perfect synchronization from them. So Willie Mangrum on leader on the road, but he's gonna have to pit again. He is on 19% VE. I do not think even in the wet that's enough to get you to the end. Parker Thomas is second on the road. He is on 13%. He's definitely gonna have to come in. No, lack of practice. I don't know. I saw quite a lot of people in practice servers. I guess, I don't know. Kind of lost for words here, to be honest. Matthew Canelli coming in the pits as well. Justin Fortuna, Dan Pullen is pulling out of the pits just now. So, sorry, yeah, I'm so sorry. There's just so many Pullen puns that come to my mind immediately. But, Dustin Rand is he is on his pit box. Richie Wood is in pit lane. It's still a lot going on in the race as we are entering the final pit stop phase. If there's any... So... Finale is just exiting the pits. He's gonna... Nolan is pretty far ahead of these guys though, so... Pretty sure that's P8 for Dan Pullen at the moment. Although there's a few more front runners yet to pit. Justin Fortuna is on 26% VE from my display, so he may be good enough to go to the end. So this is going to be a straight fight for position, I believe, between these two. We'll keep up on that. Ross McLean right behind Guillermo Perez. I believe McLean is yet to pit. I don't think so. Okay. He's not pitting this lap. He probably has to pit at some point because he's on about 8% VE. Is just updates as it crosses the line. Guillermo, of course, on more than enough VE to get to the end. Parker Thomas has come into the pits. He is just exiting his pit box. He is down in 6th at the moment. Maybe down a couple more as other cars that are yet to pit will pass him. Willie Mangrum out on track. 6 minutes to go on 12% VE as of last lap. That's not updated yet. I can get updates once a lap for the GT3s. So, Guillermo still ahead of Ross McLean. Of course, these two are on different strategies. Ross will be out of the way soon. Hans Mont has us parked it on the exit of Della Roggia. I don't want to call anything, but that might be a race done kind of parked. Yep, he has DNF'd. Sorry to see that, Hans. Dan Pullen getting up to 6th. Not sure if that's pit stops or if Justin Fortuna had a moment. Rhoda Vitello has not lost any time, so that's not a contact. He is still in 2nd. He has about 15% VE. That is close. I do believe he has to pit again, though. Him and William Mangrum both have to pit again, as William Mangrum does pull into the pits. So, we'll see. Willie is at 6% VE, so this will be a pretty quick splash and dash for both these gentlemen. Josh Popov, meanwhile, also going to be looking to pull into the pits. Guillermo is right behind, so he will be gaining all these positions as these guys pit. But Guillermo Perez is effectively your leader on track. No, what happened to Matthew? I'm fine. He is in P9 and the GT3s are pretty far back if I remember correctly, so he's doing pretty well. That's a lot closer than I thought. Willie Mangrum coming out just behind Guillermo Perez, so this is now a battle on track for the win in GT3s, if my math is right this time. Josh Popov is in his pit box. He is gonna just exit, I think, any moment now. Dakota Botello, going pretty wide. He is pretty far ahead of the actual battle on track for the win, so he shouldn't be a factor in this. Up. Dave Pacanini, meanwhile, is pulling up. Empty Garney going on the gravel and just kind of losing control, and Dave Pacanini just kind of collecting him on the exit. Not sure he could have done much more there. Oh, no, he has a stop go. Oh no, I didn't even notice. Yeah, that's tough luck. But Matthew Canal, he's gonna have to pull into the pits or to serve that penalty. So Ross McLean is now behind Josh Popoff. I'm not sure if he pitted. He is running pretty low on VE the end of the previous lap, so yeah, Matthew Canelli has not pulled into the pits. Probably just going to try and ride it out and take the equivalent time penalty at the end there. Oop. As LMP2 coming up to lap these guys. So we will watch Ross McLean's VE situation. I'm not sure if he has pitted. Meanwhile, up front, Parker Thomas has caught up to Justin Fortuna, who runs very wide on the exit of Ascari. That should open up the move for Parker Thomas, who is side by side with Justin Fortuna. And yeah, that's move done. Very nicely done, Lil P. He's up to 5th place in the GT3s. Dakota Botello is still stationary in his pit box, so this is gonna... he's just moving, so Dan Poulin is gonna get past him for the podium, but it's gonna be pretty close between him and Parker Thomas, who is hurtling down the start-finish straight. And he has got past Dakota Botello. Dakota, you could just about hear his engine revving up as he got off the pit limiter. And Matthew Canelli is still holding out. Ross McLean did pit. Big moment for Dustin Rand there. Well done holding that. And Justin Fortuna coming into the pits now to do a quick splash and dash. Less than 2 minutes to go in this race. Greg Castadorian, Brian Crane, and Matt Quant are sitting in the podium places in LMP2s. Guillermo Paré, William Angram, and Dan Poulin are in the podium positions for the GT3s. So, depending on where they are... Oh, my track line keeps disappearing after the replays. Yeah. Okay. Castadorian is coming through. Oh, as Nate Sides has had a moment. I believe that is at Della Roccia again. All the GT3s. But Castadorian is gonna have one more lap after this one. So everyone behind him at least is on their penultimate lap. So where is Guillermo? Guillermo's going through Parabolica, so he'll probably have a lap more. William Angram has dropped off. He's 5 seconds behind. So hasn't quite got the pace, or maybe had a moment or something. Either way, I don't see anything on my on race control over here. Michael Quant has had a moment. Oh, James Rubio has got past Michael Quant. What on earth happened there? Quant. Where is this? This is going into Lesmo 1. James Rubio, you can see right there exiting Del Roggia. Oh, and Michael Quant has just looped it. Oh no. Well, Josh Popoff has got past Dakota Botello. Dakota Botello has caused a yellow flag, so what has happened to him as he goes through? Oh, big spin. Big spin for Dakota. And that's another position for Josh Popoff, who's up to 4th place. So, after all that is doing pretty well. This is the last lap for Greg Castadorian, who's going through Lesmo 1 right now. So, a lot of things kicking off in the end here, folks, as Dakota Botello right on the back of Ross McLean now. He's gonna go for the move going into Della Roggia. McLean not really fighting it. Chris McLennan has a drive-through. And Dakota trying to get the move done, but does not get it done cleanly. He's gonna have to give that back. And he does. So, a lot of stuff kicking off here, folks. Greg Castadorian is just about going through Ascari. So we will catch his end. James Rubio has had to pit, though. I think he miscalculated his fuel by 1 lap. So, tough for James. He's just about lost out on a potential podium here. But these guys are all going to make it at the end. Greg Castadorian crossing the line in what has been a whirlwind Monza race. But he will take the checkered flag and win in the LMP2 class and overall for race 4 of season 3. Brian Crane is going to cross through Parabolica. Guillermo Paré is still on another lap, I believe. He's not crossed the checkered flag yet. So we can watch Brian Crane come home to finish in 2nd place in the LMP2 field. Well done to him. And right behind him, Michael Quant is... Whoa, that car does not look healthy. Michael Kwan has got some big damage here. He is limping his way to the checkered flag. Because that car does not look healthy at all. That looks like some sort of damage to the rear. As James Rubio is now... hold on a minute. James Rubio is not out of this yet. He is going to catch him. He's going to pass Michael Kwan quite convincingly. So James Rubio has taken the podium place on the last lap. As Guillermo Perret is going to drive past. But Willie Mangrum, I think, has crossed the checkered flag. So P2 and P3 in GT3 have crossed the line. So our podium has been decided. Guillermo Perret is going to come up to the line in a moment's notice and take the GT3 win. James Rubio, meanwhile, is heading to Parabolica, and he will take the checkered flag and the final podium position, I believe, in a few meters' time. James Rubio coming across the line for P3. Well done to you, sir. Great job holding out. As Guillermo Perret, give it up to the man, has survived through all of the chaos, through all of the carnage. Guillermo has just used his pace and just been consistent. And in the end, he will cross the line to take the win in the GT3 class for the second week in a row in the Multiclass Championship. Well done to you, sir. Great job there. Get in there. Further back, I did mention Willie Mangrum and Dan Pullen on the podium in his first race at OOFS, so well done to him. And Josh Popoff in fourth, a great recovery after a couple of moments. Ooh, as Donny Kratos is on the yellow flag, I believe he's ridden. So that's surely just end of race shenanigans. So, okay, hold on. Let me get the correct results. It's Greg Cachadorian parking in the pit lane post-race, as is tradition. Hold on to you, Greg. So, let's capture. First, Greg Cachadorian taking the win in LP2, followed by Brian Crane and James Rubio on the podium. Michael Kwan finishing fourth after a pretty bad bit of damage, I assume, on the last lap. Nate Sides in fifth and Chris McLennan in sixth. So 6 out of the 9 LMP2s finishing this race. We had 3 DNFs. Guillermo Perret taking the win in the GT3s with Willie Mangrum and Dan Pullen on the podium with him, and Josh Popoff in fourth. My congratulations on behalf of OOFS to all the winners and podium sitters. And we will now head into the interview. Let's get our you guys. Welcome back. Go. Brian is on mute, but I'll get him in here anyway. See if alarm. Brian, you there?
I am here.
Okay, good. So let's get this started. So, gentlemen, welcome to the post-race interviews. Congratulations on surviving what looked like a crazy race out there. James, let's start with you. Great race. Once again, you're showing the LMP2 field that consistency just kind of pays off. Talk to us about your race. What a podium from you.
This would be the one time I would say consistency was not on my side. I don't know if you saw much of my race, but I chose a counter strategy. When everyone pitted for wets, I tried to tough it out on mediums, and it was going okay until it suddenly wasn't, and I spun twice on the same lap. I had to alter my strategy. I tried to make my second pit stop last until the end, but I had to do a splash and dash right at the end. I want to say that, I mean, if I didn't make those mistakes, I feel like I could have been fighting for a win. E2, I don't know, but regardless, I'm still at least happy with the fact that I managed to fight from a 3 stop and 2 spins to still end up on the podium. So not a bad drive, I'd say.
Yeah, great stuff from you. So, talk to us about sort of the moment you realized that the dries were just not the choice anymore. How quickly does your mind go? Oh shit! I'm not on the right tire. And like, what's your thinking in terms of? Are you thinking strategy, or are you just thinking I just want to get to the pits, like, and just get off these tires?
No, I mean, once you start spinning, and I could feel that there was just no grip. I was like, I'm on the wrong tire. I was pulling away from Greg. Was behind me. Well, he was on the wets, but then it just got too wet, and I couldn't make it work.
Well, you did manage to make it work eventually. Congratulations on the podium to you, James.
Thank you.
Moving over to you, Brian. Things didn't seem to go so well in quali, but great recovery for P2. Talk to us about your race. How did it go?
Yeah, quali definitely didn't go the way I wanted it to, but I knew going into a changing condition race, like anything could happen. So starting in the back of the grid, first of all, Monza, Curva Grande, anything can happen in terms of accidents, especially on the first lap. And then with the weather, I just was thinking if I make minimal errors and just drive my race, then anything could happen, right? Even being last place starting. After the first pit stop, I knew going in I was going to change for wets. I could see coming up on the weather that we were going to get rain. And actually, as I was entering the pit stop, I could see a little bit on my windshield, so it actually timed up perfectly. And then when I left the pits after about a lap, I could see that most of the field was behind me by a lot. And I was curious on what their strategy was. But at that time, I was just like focused on myself and make minimal errors, don't spin, and we'll see what happens. Still a long way to go.
Yeah. I mean, if there's one track I would pick to start last on, is probably Monza. Yeah, like you say, never know. You never know what's gonna happen, what this track is gonna throw up for you.
Yep.
Yeah. So the timing of the pit stop was really interesting for the LMP2 field. We saw a couple of P2s pit a little early. I assume to just get that slash and dash done and maybe hold it out. Um,
Yeah.
did anything in the pre-race practice sort of tell you that maybe picking out on the medium is a bad idea?
Yeah, there's a lot of debate about that on when to go in to switch for wets. Some people said slightly wet, others damp. This is the road condition we're talking about here. Some people wanted to stick it out in damp. In practice, it was too sketchy in my mind to be on mediums when the track is damp. So I figured with the time lost on wets, if the track progressively got more wet, which is what I saw in the forecast, I figured that would be the best move, and it ended up being the right one.
Of course. Very well executed race once again, and congratulations to you, Brian.
Yeah, thank you. First
Hell yeah,
podium with
love
OOFS,
you,
by the way.
Brian.
Yeah. Oh, is this your
Thank you,
first one?
Jay.
Oh, yeah.
Hey,
Congratulations.
yeah, it is. Yeah, I couldn't have done this without
Yeah.
James. I want everyone to know that.
Well deserved, man. Awesome.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Nice job. All right, Greg, I've kept you waiting long enough. Congratulations on another win in this championship, keeping the championship alive. Good job holding it out. Talk to us about your race. Seems like a lot happened.
Yeah, it was really freaking stressful. I saw the raid coming. I knew that like the second I entered the pits, it was gonna start raining, and it did. And so I had a really slow. I basically just hit the brakes. It was rolling through the pit line at like half speed because I was scrambling to put new wets on. Yeah, I got a bit lucky with that. And then I had a really small, slow. Like this car sucks sometimes. I was behind GTs and I spun going into the chicane, under braking like the laziest low speed spin ever. But because of our awesome tire model, my tires were overheated for the rest of the race.
Oh,
So I was just going really gentle the whole rest of the way. I mean, extremely gentle, and somehow got it home. But that was the most stressful race I've had in a good time.
yeah. We saw a lot of LMP2s just have like rear locks on braking constantly. So, talk to us about that situation. Is that once you get those tires heated up, I know that the tires do not go down in temperature once they spin up.
Correct.
But is there anything you can do to sort of mitigate it? Or is it just like brake a
No.
little earlier, brake a little lighter? That's all you can do?
I mean, yeah, I was just driving at like 7/10 the rest of the race, basically. Actually, maybe a little less because it got very wet. And I knew even from practice, like even Curva Grande can sometimes be flat, but it's extremely sketchy. So yeah, no, there's nothing you can do except just assume that your tires are not going to work the same way ever again and just go slower. Even though, like I said, I spun going maybe like 30 or 40 miles an hour, but that was still enough. I could see on my temps it was gone. So
that was
great game.
great game indeed.
It's a really, really great game.
Well, gentlemen, once again from my end, on behalf of Boost, congratulations on the podium. Congratulations, Greg, for the win. I will now
Appreciate it.
let you guys go back to the voice channel.
All right,
Yeah,
thanks,
one
Stanton.
more. Congrats to Brian.
Thanks, Rubio. Appreciate it.
All right, sweet. Get our GD3 podium in here. I think Dan Pullen is having some issues with the mic. He not be. Pull him in anyway and test it out. Dan, quick question is, how's your mic doing?
Actually, it's not bad.
Okay.
I don't know what is the issue, but something's not working good.
Okay, good. So just give me a second.
A second? I'm just gonna mute myself.
Yeah, that's fine.
Actually,
Sure. All right, gentlemen, welcome to the post-race interview. Congratulations on the podium. Let's believe Glenn was third. So let's start with you, Dan. So tricky race. It's your first race at OOFS, in fact. Mega job on the podium, mate. So talk to us about your race. How did that go?
actually, it was supposed to be bad because I didn't set up the race was gonna be wet. I just saw it at the last moment, so I was able to adapt my setup before. But yeah, first wet race, first race with you guys, pretty good. Had a blast.
I'm glad to hear that. So first wet race. Sort of. What is your review? Like, would you give it like a 5 out of 10, 7 out of 10? What did you think about the wet driving in LMU?
Actually, it's not bad at all. I like the feeling that you get. The steering is a little bit heavier, and the grip is really better if you take another line. So all in all, it's good. I would say 7 out of 10.
Okay, that's not too bad. That's good stuff. Congratulations again on the podium.
Thanks.
All right, so moving on to you, Willie. My guy, you just pop up every race. Well done. Great recovery to P2. Talk to us about your race.
Thank you. Yeah, it was. I mean, it was going pretty well. I thought I had a chance to maybe save enough fuel. And I knew everyone was slowing down during the wet part of the race, so I was like, it might be possible to just one stop this. But then at one point, I was so uncertain about that last lap. Or sorry, let me backtrack. Completely went out the weld once I saw Guillermo come out of the pits. I was like, all right, it's not possible. There's 3 more laps, and I had like 2 more laps of fuel, or like 1 lap of fuel left, and I wasn't certain if I was going to cross the line. So at the last second, I took like a, should I not? And I end up getting into the pits later because of that, that absent-minded of unsureness. So went into the pits, came in with like 24%, and took it out from there. And unfortunately, I did not have enough fuel for the end of the race to just follow Guillermo and fight for him. So I had to pull back and let the overall take over.
Right, yeah. Always playing that overall leader is a surprisingly effective strategy. So I'm hearing a lot of mixed opinions about like when the rain started to come down. It felt, I heard at least from the LMP2 drivers that it was like, oh, you're fine on the mediums 1 lap, and then on the next lap is just nothing. And that sort of seemed to be what I saw on the broadcast as well. Was that kind of your experience as well, just jumping into the wet as the wet progressed?
You said like during the end of the wet it was starting
No,
to
like
dry
at the
up?
start, like when it started raining,
Oh,
you're like,
okay.
you're fine one lap, and then the next lap on the mediums, you're just nowhere. Or did you just take wets before that phase kicked in?
There was a point where I was like, man, the grip just like randomly fell off and no rain had even started. So I wasn't certain if that was just my tires, but I mean, they were still kind of in good range, like high 80s. So I don't know. Maybe there's, something about the loss of traction just before the rain. That might explain why they felt like it just fell off immediately when the rain started. Um, I wouldn't say like it fell off like super hard. I would say maybe about half a second, 1 second maybe, um, a pace. But yeah, once it actually started to get going, I was like, all right, yeah. Even before it was damp, I was like, it's probably a good idea to go ahead and get on these wets.
Yeah, good stuff, man. Well managed. Congratulations on the P2.
Thank you.
All right, and moving to you, Guillermo. Congratulations, another win, 2 weeks in a row. Great stuff. You had incredible pace in the quali as well. So talk to us about your race. How was that wet weather drive?
It was so difficult. I was using a dry setup, very aggressive with the top speed. So luckily, everyone was fuel saving. So I was maybe that helped me in the rain to. I wasn't able to push in the same pace that Willie was doing. He was maybe 1 second faster in the most wet laps, but uh, yeah, I mean it was very very difficult in the rain, but very funny, very funny.
Very fun. Yeah, it
It was a good
certainly
time.
did look like it. Yeah, it did look pretty sketchy. But yeah, damn, doing that on the dry
I
setup in
was
the car.
scared all the times. And Willie was catching, and I was maybe a little of panic in some moments. And then when he lifted, I was like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, yeah, good stuff, guys. Yeah, congratulations once
Thank you.
again. It has been exhausting following this race, so please apologies for if I'm a little bit down on energy. But good stuff, everyone.
No, you're good.
Congratulations. Yeah, I will let you get back to the voice chat.
Sounds good. Thanks, then. You have a good one.
Congrats for the first and second position too.
Yeah, congrats,
Thank you,
guys.
Nike.
Guillermo, congrats on your win. And Pullen, welcome to the club, man.
Thanks.
Thank you,
See ya.
Willie. Thank you, Dan.
Yeah, of course.
Alrighty, with that. Yeah, well, that was quite the race, guys. I wasn't kidding when I said that I am actually beat. This has been a very long race to cover, but I have had a ton of fun doing it, and I would do it again in a heartbeat. I hope this has been just as fun for you guys to follow, despite like sort of the whole chaos in the middle, kind of maybe giving me a lot to do in the camera direction department, but. Once again, from OOFS, this has been Nathan. You'll see Discord and some good links in the description if you want to join us in this chaos.